center. But today's in our topic, which is related to ninth unit, we are going to see types of records and registers for daycare center. So daycare centers are meant for children under the 3 years and full-time care where the children get the love, affection, security, and comfort to develop properly through stimulation activities. The need of children attending in the daycare centers are different from those of children attending early childhood education center. Hence, the records and registers maintained in the daycare centers are slightly different from those of early childhood education center. So there are a lot of difference between early childhood education centers and the in this daycare centers. It is essential to maintain the records and registers in the daycare center as a guide to the child's growth and development. To work successfully with the children and stimulate them to achieve the optimum growth, it is necessary for the daycare worker to know the child's needs and ability. So it is so that means we have to create the home environment so that the child will be showing the interest, and even that we can see the ability and the needs of the children. We have to concentrate on the needs of the children particularly. If the center is a part of the training institute or a research institute, and the records supplies the institution with the data for the references in the child development. So I mean to say that from this introduction, there is a lot of difference between the early childhood centers and the daycare centers. And what are so now we will see what are the types of records and registers. First, when we'll see the admission records, First, when we see the admission records, the child application for the child care. When the that the parent will come in order to enroll the child admission, at that time, the whatever register we are maintaining, that register we call it as admission register. What should be there in that? Each child must have a complete application on a file on the first day of attendance and must remain on file for at least 1 year from the date of child is no longer enrolled in the center, and the child's parent or a guardian must sign the application. Application must be available and easily accessible to the care-given staff, and the complete application must include at the minimum. And what are some information we have to fill in that enrollment form? What are that information which we have to fill that in enroll form? First, we will see one by one. The child's full name and the name the child is to be called. So the what is the first thing we have to maintain in that? The child full name with initial and all those things, and the name the child is to be called. With what name the child is called by the parents or some in their family members. And the next step is the child date of birth, and not only that, along with the date of birth, any allergies, particular fears, or unique behavior characteristics that of that particular children has to be maintained. That is the second category. So first category is with the full name along with the nickname or something, and the second category is the second pro forma in that is date of birth, and along with that, if any allergies related to that, and not only that, if that particular fears and unique behavior of that particular child. And what is the third one? Names of the individual to whom the center may realize the child as authorized by the person who signs the application, and date of enrollment and emergency medical information. So when there is emergency, suddenly if child is getting any illness or sickness, to whom we have to contact, that also that numbers has to be maintained as emergency medical information data. And not only that, according to their admission date, the admission number should be given to the students. That thing we call it as admission number. The name of the children, name of the parent, occupation, address for communication, caste, and nationality. And along with that, the nationality, we have to maintain the date of birth column there. Like this, we have to maintain the different column to know the information of the students. And not only that, along with that, we have to maintain the date of joining, date of living, and duration of service, and needed marks. This has to be maintained. So these are the things which we have to maintain. Again, we will see the child full name and the name of children to be called, and the child date of birth, any allergies, particular fears or unique behavior characteristic of the child has, and the name of the individual to whom the center may realize the child authorized by the person who signs the application, and regarding other data, that the parent name, occupation, communication caste, date of birth, date of joining, date of living, and duration of services, and some more information we have to gather from the parents. What is that information? We call it as needed remarks. Name of the children, mother's name, date of birth, father name, contact number, emergency contact number in the form of mother and father, if any grandparents is there, allergy related things, and doctor's name to whom if that particular child is having that sort of allergy, to whom they are contacting, that doctor's name, and everything has to be maintained in the form of one format. It has to be maintained. Why means they are daycare center. It is entirely different from the early childhood, and application should be reviewed for accuracy and as needed to update any important information that might have changed, such as address, phone numbers, and emergency contact. Each child enrollment must have separate application. Brothers and sisters cannot share an application form. So if siblings is there, we are not supposed to maintain one. We have to maintain two things for separate child. Separately for each child. I need to say that separately for each child. If operators choose to develop their own application form, it must include at the minimum and every item of information found in the child care requirements. If there is any emergency situation, staff must needed to grab emergency contact number for the children, staff, and application, so that whatever format we have, we can collect that information from that format. It might be helpful to store this information in individual alphabetical folder, or compile all the information into one binder, and the information should be easy to grab and go into the emergency situation. In an emergency situation, the staff may need to grab emergency contact information for children, and the staff records application, attendance list, children's health information, etc. To evacuate the center. It might be helpful to store the information in individual in alphabetical folders, or compile on all information into one binder. So information should be easy to grab and go into the emergency situation. So in this way, if we are maintaining the information regarding to the particular child, it will be easy for us to go for the emergency situation. And the next thing is attendance register. Attendance records should accurately reflect the number of children in the care at all the times, and the caregivers are highly encouraged to maintain, as well as to is are encouraged to maintain the daily records of attendance that includes arrival and departure times for the child, as well as the signature of the parent or authorized individual accompanying the children during these times. So in this attendance register, daily at what time the parent is leaving that student, at what time they are collecting, so these arrivals and departure times to be noted along with the signature of the parent or guardian, whoever are collecting that particular sheet. It has to be maintained in the form of attendance register. So these are the first one is the admission register, where we are collecting the data regarding the students in the form of particular column, having which can be filled by which has to be filled by the uh, staff. After that, attendance register is having the signatures of parents who will be collecting, or arrival and departure times will be there in that register. When it comes to the food record, the feeding schedules are required for each children under the 15 months of age, and the schedule must include the child's name, be signed by a parent or health care provider, and be dated when received by the center. It should also include the amounts of food formula the child should be served and the time intervals for feeding. Each infant schedule must be modified in consultation with the child's parent or healthcare provider to reflect the changes in the child needs as he or she develops. And the feeding instructions for each infant must be posted for quick response by the caregivers. And the center's license to care for the 3 to 12 children in the residence are not required to post the feeding schedule but must have to be available for the review. So food record has to be maintained where the feeding schedule is given in that particular record. And not only that, the parent or a health care provider of each child under the 15 months of age must give the center an individual written feeding schedule for the children. And the schedule must be posted and followed at the center. And the center's license to care for 3 to 12 children in the residence are not required to post the feeding schedule but must have it available for the review. Each infant schedule should be updated in the consultation with the child's parent and or health care provider to reflect the changes in child's needs as he or she develops. If the parent makes a verbal request for a change to a child's feeding schedule, the staff members can note the change on the schedule and have a parent review and initial at the later time. Whenever there are questions about the types or quantity of food listed in the feeding schedule, the caregiver should check with the parent or with the center medical related medical consultant. So in this way, we can maintain the food records. And not only that, the record of income and expenditure. So the receipts in the form of fee collection or in the form of donation or purchases and payment of wages, staff, that is staff salary. It has to be maintained in the form of income and expenditure records. So these are records which are related to the donation or whatever we have purchased and not only the staff salaries. When it comes to the stock registers, consumable register, learning equipment, toys, stationery items, assessment register, library books, furniture, electricals. So these has to be maintained in the stock registers. So it should have one format. Even the stock register is having one format like this. So like it has, we'll give the serial number 1 2 wise, and not only that, name in the alphabetical order and age of the student and sex or the gender and number of working days and attended remarks. So in this way, we can maintain the stock register having a particular format. And not only that, along with that, we'll be having one more table which consists of stock register, which is the name of the article, date of purchase, and quantity of article, and whatever article we have purchased, and the price of that one, receipt of that, and authority to whom from for purchase, and article issue to, and the signature of receiver and signature of the in charge. In this way, if you'll maintain the stock register having a particular format, so it will be it will show some transparency of the administration. So it will be very good. Then visitors records. So first we have seen that the attendance register is different from the visitors record. Attendance register is whoever or there the arrival and departure time of children will be noted along with the signature of the parent and guardian. That is the attendance register. When come to the register, the name of the suppose during the parent teacher meeting or sometimes whenever the parent want to meet the administrator to give some suggestion, that has to be maintained in one record. That record we call it as visitors record. That register consists of name of the visitor, suggestions, and compliments. So they can give the suggestions and they can give the compliments also. That has to be maintained in one record, which we call it as visitors record. So these are the attendance registers and admission registers and the visitors record. So three records. That the first admission register is having the information regarding the student, and the admission register attendance register is having the daily attendance of particular child, and food record, what is the schedule be given to the children of that particular weekdays, that is to be maintained in the food record. And the records of income and expenditure and the stock registers, and these stock registers having a two tabular form that has to be maintained in the alphabetical order, which shows to whom the who have purchased that, to whom they are going to give, and under the supervision of whom we are giving that. That has to be maintained in one record, which we calling as stock register. And the next thing, we have seen the visitor records. Next, the parent education program record. So not only that, along with these academic activities, even we have to create some awareness programs to the parents, so that we can see a lot of change in the mental behavior of the student. So it is necessary even to conduct the awareness to the parents. It has to be maintained in one record, which we call it as parent education program record. What are the topics related to this parent education program? The topics which are related to the early child activities for stimulation, planning for parent teacher association. So even we can have one committee of parent teacher meeting association. From the parents, we will collect one parent who is having the leadership qualities. That person will be the president of that parent teacher meeting. Whenever we'll conduct the parent teacher meeting, that parent association head person will bring all the points what they are expecting from the parents, and we will, as a educator, we will problem. It should be in that way. Not only that, this parent teacher meeting has to be planned yearly in a systematic way, so that it will be very easy for all the parents. It has to be given, this schedule has to be given to the all the parents before only at the starting year only, so that they can be mentally prepared for that. That has to be maintained in one record. That is, that record consists of, first thing is regarding the names of parents along with the child names, and not only that, who have ready to play as a leadership person, and who is going to bring the suggestions from the association. Like that, we have to maintain one record. And not only that, this is about parent education program record. And not only that, we have to conduct many stimulation activities even for the parents, so that they'll be having the healthy atmosphere of the daycare center. It has to be maintained properly. And the next one is daily report. Daily report, the child behavior and the issues related to the child adjustment. So and daily we have, so every one page is meant for one child. In that page we have to maintain the daily report of the child behavior. Suppose the first time when he entered into the classroom, in what way he is behaving, whether he is able to share, interact with other people, whether he is sharing with other people, if not with a peer group or not, that has to be checked by the educator. That has to be taken care. This type of things, it has to be divided into different criterias, and that has to be maintained in one record regarding the particular children. That record we call it as daily report. And the next one is monthly report. And not only that, in the daily report, we will see the child behavior and issues related to the child adjustment. In the monthly report, we will see whether there is a progression in the child behavior or not. So in this way, we can see the progression of the child behavior, and along with that, even what suggestions we need from the parent, and what suggestions we have to make it in order to have a holistic development of the child. We'll come to the conclusion by seeing all these reports of daily report and the monthly report. The record of program planning. The requirement for daily schedule. All the centers must have a schedule for each group of children, posted for easy references by parents and by caregivers. The written schedule must show the blocks of times usually assigned to the type of activities, and includes the periods of time for both active play and quiet play or the rest. Blocks of time must show the activities that are scheduled for indoor and outdoor areas, and the activities and allotted times reflected in the schedule must be developmentally appropriated for the children in the care. When the children 2 years old or in the daycare, the schedule must be also reflect the daily opportunities, but for both free choice and the teacher directed activities. And the return schedule must include all the activities for that, from time to centers opens until it is closes. A schedule serves several purposes. So the record of program planning, what are the of that daily schedule? It has to be maintained in one record. It shows what children actually experience each day, and it establishes routines that help the children how to expect on most days. For example, circle time, snap time follows lunch time, etc. Like that, even they'll get one routine idea of it. It helps the parents to know approximately when their children will be involved in certain types of activities. In case they want to observe the program, join them for lunch, or avoiding the picking them during their favorite activities. So that when we are planned in the systematic way, having a particular schedule, so that even they are habituated to the routine activity, even and not only that, they avoid the picking, parents will avoid picking them during their favorite activity also. A schedule helps the caregivers plan a day of activities around the blocks of time that usually work for the children in that group. There are times when you need to be flexible with the written schedule to meet the children special needs of day, meet the needs of the whole group, or meet an individual need. You need to have several different schedules that are rotated throughout the year. As the seasons changes, so will the times allowed for outdoor play. In warm weather, the children must be taken outside in the early part of day when it is coolest. Likewise, in the cool weather, you will want to take them outside late in the afternoon when the temperature is warm. So your schedule has to be maintained. And the free choice, that is, child initiated activities are started by the children using the materials that are accessible to them. And examples include choosing to use a paint at an easel, choosing to adjust together a puzzle, climbing in an outdoor, choosing to listen to music, and teacher directing activities are planned and started by a staff, and the children are invited to participate. And examples include setting up and guiding an art activity, reading to the children during the circle times, and teaching the children a song. The schedule should be reflect opportunities indoor and outdoors for the free choice and teacher directed activities. A daily nap or a rest must be provided for each child in the child care. It is recommended that child be offered a minimum tool of 1 hour of outdoor time throughout the day if weather conditions permitted. So in this way, the record, that is program planning, has to be maintained daily in the form of one schedule in order to fulfill our purpose. What is our purpose there? We need a slow progression which has to be lead to the holistic development of the child. It is our purpose. And health report, it plays a major role in the growth monitoring and immunization schedule. You know what is meant by immunization? Having a resistance power. When any foreign body enters into your body, we call it as antigen. The By seeing the antigen, our body will produce some sort of cells from our blood cells, which we call it as antibody. Antigen antibody reactions, we call it as uh, immunization process. That is, if antigen is strong, we will get the disease. If antibody is strong, foreign body will be killed by the antibody, we won't get this disease. This process, we call it as immunization, which we given in the form of artificially is given in the form of vaccinations. So it plays a key role in the child health. So in the health report, we have to maintain the growth monitoring and the immunization schedule. Requirement for the child's health assessment. Each child must have a health assessment before being admitted or within 30 days the following admissions to a child care center. The assessment must be completed and signed by the one of the following things. And today I want to give one assignment for you. Um, that is, compare your answers, write your answers in the given space, and not only, and compare your answers with those given at the end of this particular ninth unit. And a public health nurse meeting the department standards for early periodic screening, diagnosis, and treatment program. And not only that, we want a licensed physicians and physician authorized agency and certified nurse practitioner is needed in order to check the health of the kids. Review the health assessment information carefully to see if there is a healthcare information such as allergies, specific diets and medical history, asthma, etc., that need to be aware of, able to provide the proper care. Although not required, request the parents to update their child's health assessment information annually after each annual well check visit to the physician, or when the child's medical condition changes, such as being diagnosed with an allergy, to ensure you have the most updated health information on the file. So in this health report, we have to gather all this information regarding the children. It has to be maintained and it has to be updated day by day, so that we'll be having the proper information regarding the health assessment of the child, and it has to be maintained till the end of the year. A sample of the child's medical report form. It is one more thing. If a center chooses to develop its own health assessment form, it must include every item of information found on the sample form. The top portion of the sample form should be completed by the child's parent or a guardian. So it has to be done by the parent, if not on guardian. A healthcare professional should complete the other portion of information which is there, which we have to fill in the medical report form. So next is immunization record. What is the immunization record? Immunization record. As we have discussed before, what is antigen antibody? The reaction between this antigen and antibody, we call it as immunity, and having giving the artificial immunity, we call it as immunization. So that immunization vaccination record has to be maintained. Each child must have an up-to-date record of immunization on the file at the center within the 30 days of enrollment, and the correct immunization record showing the child is age appropriately immunized must remain on file for each child while in care. First day of attendance. If the certificate is not presented on the first day, the operator must notify the parent they have 30 calendar days from the first day of attendance to obtain the required immunization for the child. The child care operators must request the parents to provide a copy of each child immunization and record that whenever new immunizations are given. The child care operators and the caregivers must complete an annual child care immunization report annually. Each center should receive the following forms with the instructions in the mail each year. And special note is there, the emergency medical information must be on the file for the each individual child, and emergency medical care information must include the following. So what issue should include? The name of the parent or the person to be contact in case of any emergency, and address of the parent or the persons to be contact in case of emergency. What has to be maintained? The name of the parent or the other person to whom we have to contact in the emergency, and telephone number of the parent other persons to be contact in case of emergency. Not only the parent, if parent is busy with any activity, to whom so second person to whom we have to contact, that has to be maintained. And the responsible party choose of healthcare provider, preferred hospitals, any chronic illness the individual child has, any medication taken for that illness, any other information that has directed bearing and assuring the safe medical treatment for the children. So in this record we have to maintain all this. What record we have to maintain all in this immunization record, we have to maintain all this. And the emergency medical information must be on the file in the center on the child's first day of attendance. Remember to update the information regularly to ensure that the correct emergency information is always on file for the each child. So, immunization record, all this has to be maintained. What is the incident report? An incident report must be completed each time a child receives medical treatment by the physician, nurse, or physician assistant, and the dentist, and community clinic or the local health department as a result of incidents occurring while the child is at the child care center. The incident report must include the minimum what, and it has to be include the child name and the type of injury and the piece of equipment involved in the injury, the date and time of incident, and name of individual who saw the incident, and part of the body injured, description of how and where the incident occurred, where and what kind of treatment he or she received, and the step taken to prevent this reoccurrence. So in the incident report, so suddenly any child is met with any accident, it's that incident report has to be maintained in the proper way. So that is the child name, type of injury, what is the type of equipment involved in the injury, when it has happened, who saw this incident, to which organ it has happened, how it happened, in the form of description, where it happened, what kind of treatment that particular kid received after getting exposed to that particular incident. It has to be maintained in one record. The step taken to prevent or reoccurrence. This report must be signed by the person completed it and by the parent and maintained in the child's file. A copy of incident report must be mailed to the higher authorities within the several calendar days after the treatment. And this requirement also applies when the parent takes the child to the doctor after the incident just to be evaluated. Even when the child receives no medical treatment, some operators choose to complete an incident report anytime a child is injured. So in this, we have to maintain all this in this incident report. When permission to transport. Before children are transported, the written permission from the parent must be obtained, which must include when and where the child is to be transported. So, in the previous section, we have seen the attendance register where the arrival and departure record we are maintaining. This is a permission record, permission to transport. So, before child are transported, written permission from the parent must be obtained, which may include when and where the child has to be transferred and their expected time of departure and arrival and the name of transportation provided. And parents may give the standard permission valid for up to 12 months for routine transport of children to from the center, and permission to transport must be on the file. And this a copy of child emergency medical care information as well as emergency medical authorization must be in a vehicle when transporting children. This information is located on the child's application for the child care. So that permission to the transport, it has to be maintained. And it a current picture of each child being transported with the child's name and the birth dates should be in the vehicle for the quick access in case a child separated from the grouping and identification information is needed. So they are provided with a particular information of child, so that there will be quick access if any separation of that particular child from that particular group. So, and what is the receipt of summary of child care law? The operators of child care center must provide a copy of summary of child care law to each parent and guardian, full-time custodian before the child is enrolled in the center. And each pair, guardian or the full-time custodian must sign a statement acknowledging that he or she received a copy of summary before the child enrollment. As a daycare center, as a daycare institution, even the parent and the guardian and the institution should know what are the laws related to the child care. So that we have to maintain instructions of that. Even after the admission, we have to provide this information to the parents and the guardian, so that they'll be having a full knowledge of this thing, and we won't have the further problems during the process of this running institute. And so I want to conclude it as the systemic main. So as everyone knows, administration is maintaining the policy, and management is executing the policy. So in order to maintain everything what is happening in the institution, we are maintaining in the form of register. That is the administration. When it comes to the management, we are what we are implementing, it comes under the management. So I want to summarize this types of records of daycare center is that the systemic maintenance of records and register in a daycare center will enable the worker to be working effectively in planning the stimulative programs. So what are the, we'll be planning some stimulative programs. uh, it will show the effectiveness of the um, that particular institute. And not only that, whatever the efforts we have taken, what are the efforts we have taken, it has to be maintained in the records and registers. uh, so that anyone can monitor that, and even it is helpful to monitor the individual child growth and the development. In this way, the records and registers are going to help us for effective running of our institution. Childcare programs must establish and implement planned program of daily activities based on each child's individual development at each stage of early childhood. And the child care providers should be clear about the curriculum and activities they plan to implement. Having a written description of the plan and program of the daily activities gives the staff and parents a common understanding. And the written plan helps to define the service and contributes to the relationship between the provider and the parent. And the written activity plans and the daily schedule provides the parents and the staff a clear picture of the programming components of the program. Each child facility care, each child care facility must keep the accurate records on each child receiving care in the child care. All the records of any child care center, except the financial records, must be available for review by higher authority or the management. So all the records which we are maintaining regarding this, whatever it may be, whether it is attendance register, whether it is a admission register, whether it is a permission register, whether it is a staff register, whether it is a activity related register, which is consists of daily activities, monthly activities, whether it is a parent community record maintenance register, whether it is a visitors register, which consists of different suggestions, whatever type of registers it may be, all the records of the childcare center, except the financial records, must be available for review by the higher authority or a management. A good record keeping system will help to save you your time. So when we are maintaining in the form of record, it will be help you to access anything at any time. By keeping your records organized and located in one place, you will have a immediate access to emergency information for the children and the staff. Suppose suddenly if any kid is suffering with any sudden illness, if you are maintaining the information of that particular children in the form of allergies or previous doctor's prescription slips and everything there, at the time we can immediately provide the medicine emergency treatment to that particular child, so that the child can recover safely from that situation. So if maintaining the records of this child will help to save the child, and not only that, for effective running of our institution, to prevent other major issues. In an emergency situation center, the staff may need to grab the records such as emergency contact information for children and the staff, applications, attendance list, and children's health information. To vacate the center, it might be helpful to store this information in individual in uh, alphabetical folder, and compile all the information into a one binder. So information must be easy to grab and go in the emergency situation. So we have seen, we'll come to the conclusion. We have seen uh, daycare, regarding the records of daycare center in the form of food records, staff registers, and health report and transport. Then um, and not now I want to give it as homework. You make a note of, write your answers, few words related to types and records of the registers of this particular unit. So in our next class, we are going to see about um, parent community education of early childhood education. So in this ninth unit, that is types of records and registers of daycare center. What are the during the practicum, we'll see different types of thing, like observing one day preschool program in nearby preschool records the program in the particular daily diary. Observing one day's preschool program in a nearby preschool, recording the program in the daily diary. That may be one practicum. And not only that, uh, how do you enter and in which record do you register the above equipment. So we will be having different types of equipments, and it has to be maintained in the stock registers now. That also we can, it comes under one practicum. And one more practicum also you can do: visit a preschool and observe the 4 to 5 year old child and record the observations and develop a case study of the child. That is one more practicum. Whether visiting a preschool and observing a 4 to 5 year old child and recording the observation and developing a case study of a child. Case study of the child means, that means you will be maintaining again in the form of one format, having the regarding the language skill, regarding the cognitive skill, regarding the approaches, making them towards learning. In that way we can maintain the case study of the children. And the child in the daycare center is down with a high fever. How do you meet this emergency? Suppose if the kid is suffering with the high fever, what emergency care you are taking, that also comes under one practicum. In this way, if you do the practicum, you'll getting an idea about these types of records and registers which we have to maintain for the daycare center. So so what are the learning outcomes of this topic, that is types of records and register for daily activities? In this we will getting to know what are the different kinds of records and register, what are the nature and of records and register. That is, suppose in attendance register, what is the nature of it? In the admission register, what is the nature of it? In the stock register, what is the nature of it? Then what is the purpose of records and register? For what is meant by purpose? Suppose for what, for admission. Suppose in the admission register, why we are collecting the data? In order to overcome the different situation. What is the purpose of that? So that we'll come to know when to use that data according to the situation. So these are the learning outcomes of these types of records and registers for daycare center. Thank you.